Do you have an English A-level? No? Nor do I. I thought about taking it when I was 16. My English teachers, all of them very good, I should add, amongst the best I've ever had on any subject anywhere, wanted me to take it because I did pretty well in my O-level English, as we then had. But the truth was, I wanted to take history, and I don't regret that. And I mastered the English language anyway. But the government has now decided, in its wisdom, or rather in its lack of wisdom, that migrants into this country should have English at A-level equivalent standard. But what does that mean? If I have managed to write millions of words in my career, which a vast number of people have read, and if I have managed to create quite a lot of video that millions of people have watched, and very few have complained about with regard to its grammatical construction, why did I need English A-level? And why does a migrant into this country need English A-level? What is this about? I think it's about control. You don't need to know about Jane Austen's novels to be a participant in society in the UK, because, let me assure you, most people don't. You don't need to have read Charles Dickens or Trollope, or to bring things further forward, Arthur Miller, or whoever it might be that you want to look at. English literature and the study of poetry that is normally a part of an A-level English course doesn't make you a member of our society. In fact, if anything, it makes you an outsider, because you understand something that most people don't and see the world in a way which others won't understand as a consequence. It's not a symbol of inclusion, in other words. But nor is a particular use of language a sign of inclusion. People in Scotland have words that are quite simply different from people in England. People in England don't always use language in the same way. People in Wales most definitely use different structures for language than do people in England. And in Ireland, people use words that are just, well, almost unknown to anybody outside that island. A word like soft, for example, which in Ireland means it's a sort of dull, miserly day, but which never means that in the rest of the British Isles. So English doesn't actually prove the ability to communicate either. So what is this about? Control. It's all control. It's about denying people access, of course, by putting up artificial barriers to entry to come into this country to allow only the privileged to gain access to the UK, because you've got to be pretty privileged to come from another country and have the equivalent of A-level English in addition to any other qualifications that you might have, and also the financial resources that will now let you get in. And it's about control in the sense of saying there is an accepted form of society when there isn't. I know lots and lots of people who can communicate very effectively, who tell me they never write a word. Time and time again, when I tell people I've written 5 blogs in a day, they look at me, well, aghast, totally amazed, surprised. I haven't written an essay since I left school, they tell me, and I believe them. They can't remember the last time they wrote a letter. Their emails might be 3 lines long at most. If they're forced to, they can write out a text message, but it works, and that's all that matters. So why are we creating this false standard? Simply because people in government are reflecting the prejudice against people coming into this country in a way that ensures they don't. And I condemn them for that. People who can cook well don't need to be able to write well. There are people on television who are very good television chefs, but who have autism or dyslexia or ADHD or whatever, and basically aren't able to even read and write. There are actors who have to learn their lines orally because they can't read, and it doesn't matter. They've learned to cope. But we're excluding anybody like that from the UK as a consequence, and yet these people are often the strongest innovators of all because they've overcome adversity and have succeeded nonetheless. English A-level is a shibboleth. And a shibboleth, for those who don't know about it, is a dividing line, a barrier, something you have to get over if you are to get on. And it's artificial in most cases. A crack in the world, which is put there to ensure that some people are on one side and others, the preferred, are on the better side. That is what the government's doing here. I condemn them for it. We don't need this. I don't dispute that it helps to be able to speak English if you live in this country. But the vast majority of people who live here do get to that point anyway. Because they see the world around them, because they hear the world around them, because they want to communicate with the people around them, they will learn English, and they'll learn it in the way that is necessary in the community where they live, which will use language in a way that may not be taught by an English textbook, let alone a 19th century Victorian novel. So let's stop this nonsense. Let's talk about the value of communication, the value of skills, the value of diversity, the value of having people who've overcome adversity, and not talk about putting impediments into the path of people with ability who want to live in our community and contribute to its well-being. Thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please do click the like and subscribe buttons, because they do genuinely help us spread the word on YouTube. As importantly, could you have a look at the section below this video where it says more, and there you'll find a link to my blog. And if you follow that for the specific link to the blog entry related to this video, you'll find a transcript of this video and lots of other related material, plus a ChatGPT prompt that you could use to write a letter to your MP on the contents of this video, which will turn you into a campaigner, which will be a great thing to do. Finally, if you do appreciate the work we're doing, can you think about giving us a donation? If you'd like to do so, there's a link below, or you can find one on my blog where there's a Ko-fi button saying, please buy me a coffee. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again soon.